So, we have the NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, who is currently being sued for $50 million for sexual assault and battery, with the accusation stemming from an incident that took place just as recently as January of this year. So, yeah, this is pretty messy. I hate to break this to you just out the open like the Kool-Aid man when he busts through a wall, but this is some pretty serious stuff, and I just thought it was best to not give you the fluff and just get right into the whole thing because this is pretty messy. So for the uninitiated, we have Shannon Sharpe, who is a three-time Super Bowl champion and NFL Hall of Famer, and he's also a major sports commentator. He's also one of the co-hosts for Skip and Shannon's Undisputed. He also has his little podcast that you probably have seen on social media, or at least seen clips of, especially one of his first being the one with Cat Williams. And he's also had his fair share of the meme culture. You probably recognize Shannon Sharpe from his fit check memes, or maybe you've seen some images of him, like one where he's wearing a do-rag and he has like playing cards in front of him and he's pouring some hard liquor into his cup. And then you had this little trend from Shannon Sharpe that's been going around like the sports side of social media.
Serge Ibaka, Chewbacca, Waka Flocka. Lakers in 5. Chris Paul, Cliff Paul, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Lakers in 5 now, Chris. FGA, PGA, USA. Lakers in 5.
It is without a doubt that Shannon Sharpe not only is a professional athlete and a Hall of Famer, but he also has a huge voice in the sports media, and now he's facing some pretty serious allegations. The lawsuit was brought up by a woman who alleges that Mr. Sharpe used his fame to, unquote, manipulate, control, subjugate, and violate women. The accuser, who was 19 at the time she met Mr. Sharpe in 2023, says in a legal filing that the pair had a nearly 2-year relationship, during which Mr. Sharpe was, unquote, aggressive and allegedly raped her. According to the suit, the woman met Mr. Sharpe, currently age 56, in Los Angeles gym and had a, unquote, rocky consensual relationship. After many months of manipulating and controlling plaintiff, a woman more than 30 years younger than he, and repeatedly threatening to brutally choke and violently slap her, Sharpe refused to accept the answer no and raped plaintiff despite her sobbing and repeated screams of no. The woman alleges that Mr. Sharpe raped her as recently as January of this year. In addition, she alleges in a suit that Mr. Sharpe insisted on recording some of the sexual encounters, sometimes without her consent or knowledge, shared the videos with his, unquote, friends and associates. This is where things are getting really heavy. This isn't something that you're digging into like the ancient past where you have witnesses are just no longer with us anymore and there's a lot of evidence and data that's just not readily available for us to look at, and we just have to take people by their word and it turns to a he said, she said kind of thing. It's not that. Like, this was recent. He may have, or at least allegedly, sexually assaulted her as of this year in January. And I only bring that up because I know there's going to be a campfire people that's always going to say, well, why now? Why wait? Why did she wait 2, 3, 4 months later on just to say that Shannon sexually assaulted her? That makes no sense. Like, have you seen the track record of victims that come forward into the public spotlight to accuse people of high social status or financial status of sexual assault or any form of abuse only for them to get shut down? Like, I feel as if any time a victim comes forward and says, hey, this celebrity did this to me, or this celebrity sexually assaulted me or abused me in some way, it's like they're pressing like a big red button just to get like the internet's like worst takes on the situation just dumped on them. And listen, I don't care if Shannon Sharpe is a pro athlete with 3 rings and probably like a multi-million-dollar podcast. Like, there is a boundary line that is obviously being crossed here. The woman kept saying no, and according to her, he kept pushing himself onto her. Like, this is literally Shannon Sharpe deliberately fumbling at a 1-yard line of human decency. And plus, not to mention, there is a level of complexity that's going on here because this was a 2-year relationship. I don't understand why Shannon Sharpe is chasing women at that age for a relationship. When there's history, there's a lot of emotional entanglement. And then, plus, not to mention, you do have Shannon Sharpe, who is a celebrity, so he has some level of power that is in this relationship. So, like what any celebrity would do when it comes to a serious accusation like sexual assault coming their way, they're going to defend it to the teeth. And there was an Instagram post on Shannon Sharpe's Instagram page where we have someone representing Shannon Sharpe, I believe, who goes by the name of Lanny J. Davis, that will post a little bit of like excerpts or examples of text messages where consent was implied in this relationship or in these interactions. You can read at the top. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to leave it for you to read it yourself. You can pause the video if you like. But the post does continue on to say that Tony Busby is a blatant, cynical, he's attempting to shake down Mr. Sharpe, yada, yada, yada. And then we kind of move on to more text messages where they keep emphasizing that, yes, this victim that so claims to be a victim did consent to this relationship with Shannon Sharpe. She did want this, sexual encounter with Shannon Sharpe. All of this was consensual. This is all a fucking bluff. This is my thing with the whole showing the text of the victim that was talking to Shannon Sharpe. What does this have to do with anything? What does this have to do with consent? If I'm talking to a woman over text message and she talks about how she wants to slob my knob, and then all of a sudden we hit the bed, and then later on she starts to have a change of thought and she's like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't understand what compels people to think that, oh, well, you said yes before, you said yes in the text message, so why can't we do it now? Like, consent isn't a consistent thing. Just because you said yes then doesn't mean it's yes now. If someone changes their mind and it turns out they don't want to do it anymore, just fucking stop. Like, no means no. I don't understand why this is the case. I don't understand what's so difficult to understand. Hey, I was in the mood and, we're having a good time and everything, but I really just low-key don't want to do it tonight. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you do have people that feel like, oh, then why were you leading me on? Why did you keep saying yes and telling me all these things over text message? But then when we really want to fuck, all of a sudden you change your mind. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, no, what is wrong with you? Like, just take fucking no for an answer. Oh, and by the way, of course, Tony Busby, the lawyer representing the victim, is going to drop an audio recording of Shannon Sharpe with the victim in the other side of the line. Check it out.
Well, you're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Daddy.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you did with the shit you did to me.
Just when you thought this lawsuit couldn't get any uglier, you have this audio recording that you would never expect Shannon Sharpe to say. Like, it's literal insanity that it's just not just, oh, it's bad optics. Like, this is the type of stuff that gets people canceled into like another dimension. It's like Shannon Sharpe just took like all the racial stereotypes of black men, put it in a paper, crumpled it, and threw it right into the courtroom like a fucking grenade. And it's so crazy that he just says that like it's like casual Tuesday. Like, hello? Like, what is wrong with you? Aside from Shannon Sharpe getting sued for $50 million, like, this audio recording alone is pretty damning. Like, even if it was out of context, right? Let's take it a step back. Even if it was out of context, right? Let's say this is their thing. Let's say this victim and Shannon Sharpe does have their ways of talking to each other like that as a little role play or whatever. I don't even fuck with that. But nonetheless, I don't care what they do in bed. It's none of my business what they're into, what their kinks are, what their fetishes are. But the point being is that the fact that this was actually recorded and it's now out in the public, like in the public airways, you now have Shannon Sharpe whose legacy or his career is on the line just off of this audio recording alone. This isn't something that a celebrity could just go into like their iPhone and go to the notes app and just type a long-winded apology and just call it a day from there. Like, no, this is serious, dog. Not only are you being accused of like sexual assault, but now that recording comes in and you're just weaponizing like stereotypes that are harmful to black men. It's actually crazy. Now, before I get hyper fixated on a possible career fallout of Shannon Sharpe, there's one person I do want to bring up, and that is Tony Busby. His name may be familiar, and you're probably right, because I did briefly cover his background on the previous video that I made a couple months ago, where he was representing a woman that accused both P. Diddy and Jay-Z of sexual assault in New York City after like the 2000s MTV Awards. Which, by the way, I did hear that that lawsuit got dropped. Apparently, the woman that was accusing Jay-Z and P. Diddy dismissed the case for an undisclosed reason, and this was like after there was many inconsistencies with the story that was pointed out in her story. But then you now have Jay-Z that is now suing the woman for defamation. Now, as far as Tony Busby goes, just a quick recap on him. He tends to chase high-profile cases of victims being sexually assaulted or abused by celebrities. Like, you already know, he's representing a lot of victims in the whole P. Diddy case. He tends to chase a lot of these cases, and you have a lot of celebrities that just don't like Tony Busby, because Tony Busby is the kind of lawyer that not only does he bring in his legal expertise into the situation, but he also tends to bring a press kit around him. He tends to generate a lot of noise, and he's not the type of person that's like really conservative. He tends to keep to himself and just analyze the situation before he acts. He tends to react. He's very reactive. Like you just saw here when Shannon Sharpe said like, oh, this is a whole shakedown. None of this is true. Of course, Busby will say, all right, bet. Here's an audio recording. Now speak for yourself here. So it's safe to say that Tony Busby in his past is pretty much an asshole for the most part. He had a little bit of his run-ins in the past, but he does have his fair share of wins as well, especially with the lawsuit involving Deshaun Watson, who was accused by multiple women that was giving him massage sessions of sexual assault. I believe he settled like 23 out of the 24 lawsuits that Deshaun Watson was going through. So Busby did get a pretty big payout from that. In short, if God forbid you become a celebrity and you get presented like a letter saying, hey, you're being served, and there's a big John Hancock signature that belongs to Tony Busby, don't expect just like a simple legal standard battle. You're going to be looking at a complete media circus. So just as a disclaimer, all of this is just allegations, right? There's nothing official yet. There's no court decisions as of yet. So everything here is just straight up allegations. This video isn't meant to criminalize Shannon Sharpe or accuse him of anything. These are all allegations. These are not my own. These are just my speculation on the whole thing. But I do feel we see a lot of these cases in our lives. And we see a lot of cases fall apart, and we've seen cases where our worst fears have been confirmed. And I'm pretty sure that whatever Shannon Sharpe is going through as far as these allegations go aren't going anywhere. And with that audio recording that also dropped just recently, we could tell this is not going away for a while now. But I'll keep y'all updated should in case the story develops any further, or if I find anything juicy from this lawsuit, if there is any. And until then, we'll see where this goes. I'll see y'all in my next video, and I'll see y'all on my next live stream on Twitch TV tonight. Take care. Peace.